Hi everybody and welcome again to Predator Behind the Hunt. I told you I'd come up with a snappier title with less words. So this video is about how I create custom models using the editor, Future Pinball editor, without bringing any external models into the game. Now I have done modeling in the past. I did the Vengeance ship on Stern's Star Trek. But I didn't enjoy the experience. So it's not something that I enjoy is modeling. It doesn't float my boat. So I stay away from it. So wherever possible, I like to bullshit. So I do things on the cheap or I just find a workaround. So this is a workaround. Now I needed a minigun in this game. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to do what I did in Evil Dead. I wanted the ball to return into play in a spectacular way. So in Evil Dead, I came up with a double barrel shotgun. So I thought I'll use that same thing, but this time I'll use the minigun. So to create a toy in Future Pinball using the editor, and this is the editor here, and these are the tools that you've got. So if you open a drawer in a workshop and you pull open the drawer, this is what these are basically, the little drawers. And inside you'll find little components. So you can put a bumper on the playfield, you can put a flipper on the playfield, you can put a kicker on the playfield, you can put a pop-up on the playfield. Now, when you're creating models, as any modeler will tell you, is you always start with a primitive. Primitives are shapes that you start from. Either it's a flat plane, a sphere, a triangle, or a cube. So this is the minigun here. And I'm using a flat plane. So I use basically the surface here. So this is my little drawer. Pull up the drawer. Let's grab a little surface. So that's what I've just done. I've just opened the drawer and I've just brought out a little surface. So it's just a flat surface, which is only 2 millimeters thick. Now, if I wanted to shape it, I would just add more points and I can shape this thing to whatever I want. So to cut a long story short, boom, get rid of that. That's what I did with this circle here. So I just, as you can see here, the points all create a circle. Now, if you're having difficulty drawing a circle by freehand, all you do is you just bring in a light here. So you bring in the light, you bring in your surface, and then you just draw around the light and get it as close as possible to the light. And that's the easiest way of doing a circle when you're using the light as a template. So that's what I did up here. So I'll just get rid of that. So I created a circle. Now this is the sort of the lock-in bracket, I suppose, which holds the barrels in the minigun. So there's two of these, and I'll show you the first one because that's the second one. The first one is at a lower level. So this is the first one. I'll just lock it so I don't move it by accident. So this one is created at a bottom height of 15, which means it's 15 millimeters above the playfield surface. And it has a thickness of 5 millimeters. So it goes from 15 to 20, so it has a thickness of 5 millimeters. And of course, I've textured it with chrome and given it kind of a gun barrel tint. So that's the first one. And the second one comes up a little bit higher. The second one comes in at 45 millimeters above the playfield surface. Again, at a thickness of 5 millimeters. So I've got these two round brackets now, which hold the barrels into place. And the barrels themselves, well, I only needed to create one. So basically, I just took this image here, this one big circle, and I reduced it in size till it was a smaller circle here. So this is a tube, if you like, which has a bottom height of 0, which means it reaches all the way down to the playfield. So it starts at playfield level, and it comes all the way up to 70 millimeters. So it's like a tube. Now, I'm only working in a 2D plane here. If this was CAD, I could switch to a 3D plane, and I could show you what it looks like in 3D. But I'll do that in a second when I go into the game. So once I had that in place, again, textured with chrome, with a gun barrel sort of tint, then I can just replicate it. So initially I had 8 of these things because I wasn't paying attention. And then on closer inspection, I realized there's only 6 barrels. So that's how you actually construct the model. And as we go into the editor, I will show you what it looks like in the actual game. So as you can see, this is what it looks like in its place at the side of the game before I've actually moved it into place. So to move it into place, you need to use the mini playfield feature in Future Pinball, which allows you to draw a box around it. And once anything is inside this box, you can then animate it. and place it wherever you want. You can rotate it, you can twist it, you can twirl it, make it bigger, you can make it smaller, and you can create all kinds of wonderful animations with it. Okay, so once you have the toy inside the capture box of the mini playfield animation tool, you can put it wherever you want. So it's now left where it was there. I've captured it and I've grabbed it and I've moved it over here and I've put it underneath the apron. So it's underneath the apron, and I've made it slightly smaller so it'll squeeze underneath the apron. Okay, so when you fire the gun, it comes out and does a little dance. So let's just see that. You see? So what's happening there, and I'll show you that in the script in a second, so just watch it one more time. Well, first of all, I'll show you without any fancy lighting or sound effects or any movie clips. Okay, and now I'll show you with all that stuff. So, you know, to sell the effect, you have to add sound effects, you have to have lighting effects, and you have to add movie clips. So there's three things working to help sell this whole thing. So when you see it all together, this is what you get. And again. So it's very effective. Now I'm going to show you how I animated those primitives to make it look like they're spinning around, and how I angled it so it looks like a gun pointing forwards as well. So to do that, we have to go back into the script. Okay, so we're back in the script. So this is the mini playfield, the box that was captured around the model that I created. So what I've done here is, this is where I've placed it. I've captured it in this box. These are the dimensions of the capture box. And this is where I've stuck it. So 237. If you look on the in the editor of Future Pinball, you'll see that everywhere you put the cursor, this cursor here, has a coordinate. And it's down here, see? Cursor X, cursor Y. So you know exactly where the cursor is pointing. So here I have it at X 237, so X 237, look at the bottom left there, 237, 237, 237. And Y 110. So where's Y 110? Look at the bottom of the editor. Y 110. 110, well, that's more or less, isn't it? 237, 110. So it's there. Basically, it's right in the middle of where that drain is, underneath the apron. Now the height of it is here, so it's 20. So not that one, mini playfield 1. So the height of it is 30. So I've had to bring it down a little bit, and I have reduced its size. So 1 here, if it was 1, that would be 1-on-1 the actual size of it, but I've actually reduced it to 0.6 to squeeze it underneath the playfield so the player can't see it. So that's where you move it to. That's how you move the object. Now, to tilt it down so it's facing upwards like a barrel of a gun, because as you saw when I constructed it, it was pointing up in the air. That's no good to anybody. So I have to angle it down so it's facing up the playfield. Now that's done here. So all I've done here is I've changed this number here to -90. So that angles it down so it looks like it's pointing up. So far what this does is it takes that toy, puts it here, shrinks it down slightly, and angles it so it's pointing forward like a proper gun. Now, how do we animate it? Well, that is where the genius comes in. So this whole process here is how I animate the whole thing. So I have a process which is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phases. So the first phase is to play the sound of the gun loading. So there's a very specific scene in the film where Blaine takes the gun out of the bag and he says, no, he cocks it, he turns it to load it, and then he says payback time. So that sound effect there is him actually turning the barrel and loading it. At that same point, what I'm doing here is I'm animating the toy to come out of its position and appear just here so the player can see it. So as it plays that sound effect of the loading, it comes into position so the player can see it. In 600 milliseconds later, we start the process of the animation. Now there are lights that I added here. These are called scatter lights. So I might do something with these in the future, but these are what I call scatter lights. So as the barrel is firing, it's doing a wide spread. So that's to indicate that these bullets are not going straight. They're kind of having a wide spread, as if he's moving the gun left to right. So I call these scatter shots or scatter lights. So that's what these are. They blink in a pattern. Simple binary, on and off. 1 is on, 0 is off. And what I'm doing here is I add something on the DMD which says return fire. We have the playfield doing its thing, which is the flasher under the apron. So there's a light here under the apron, which is mimicking the flash of the barrel, which I've set to white. I've changed the color to white. We're playing one of 3 things on the LCD. 2 are clips, and 1 is an animation which just simply says return fire. And what I've done there is I've made the movie clips play more frequently, which is why they're listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then we get the sound effect of the actual minigun from the movie, so it's the actual sound effect from the film. And then, under the right circumstances, I have Mac screaming, as he's just discovered that his buddy has been blown to bits. So how do we spin the barrel? Well, we spin the barrel by using this number here. So this number is replaced with a identifier which I've called spin. And at the same time, I've added a timer here, mg spin. So when we go to the mg spin subroutine, here it is, mg spin. So spin equals spin plus 10. So it's changing that value plus 10 each time. And when the value exceeds 360, because a circle only has 360 degrees, so once it gets to 360, then spin reverts back to 10. So that's how you make it move in a continuous circle. So it goes from 10 all the way up to 360, back to 10, 360, back to 10. So you can't get any higher than 360. It's the maximum you can get in a circle. And what this does is it's timed at 30 milliseconds. So every 30 milliseconds, that barrel will turn by 10 degrees. And it's here, and this is how it's animated in the model. I configure it here with that value. So after 2.9 seconds, nearly 3 seconds, we stop the barrels from spinning. We turn off the lights. We have a sound effect of the actual barrel stopping. That's when Mac takes his finger off the button and the barrels just spin empty. And then we just retract the model back under the apron. And that's how you do it, and that's how you animate a very simple primitive. Now, there are these blades as well. Same principle. These bad boys, are, again, just created with a surface thing, and it's my attempt to try and, create the blade just by moving these things around. I'll just put that back. So there's 2 in each one. So they're kind of side by side. So there's 2 there and there's 2 there. One on the left slingshot, one on the right slingshot. So again, same principle. I draw a capture box around it. I can then take it over here, stick it under the slingshot, which is what I do. And then when the slingshots are hit, when the game is in predator vision mode, those blades shoot out. So it's the same principle, only it's much simpler to animate these because you just have them shoot out. So they kind of come up and shoot out. So come up and shoot out. They're not spinning around. And I think I've kept them at the same size. I haven't made them bigger or smaller. And these are chrome. So I've made them chrome with only 1 millimeter thickness. So like I said, there's 2 side by side. So it's quite effective. But they're so quick that you won't actually see them. You won't notice them that much. It's just something that I had an idea for, and I thought, wouldn't that be cool? And that's what I can do when I'm in Future Pinball, is I can always say, wouldn't it be cool if? And then I just think, well, why don't I just try it and see if it works? And that's what I did with the whole helicopter thing. I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if there's a helicopter that can just drop balls into play out of midair? I thought it was a cool idea, and when I tried it, it worked. And so it's in the game. You can do whatever you want in Future Pinball. It allows that kind of freedom. So that's how you create simple models, simple toys that you can then animate in the game entirely within the Future Pinball editor. And it's really, really cool. Okay, I think that's all I need to say about that. So what I'll do is I'll do probably just one more video and then a final video of the full game complete. And that will be the end of my Predator project. Okay, see you in the next vid. Doodaloo.